In the vast, sun-scorched expanse of the Arizona Territory, where the red earth met the endless blue sky like a promise unkept, rancher Elijah Thorne stumbled upon a miracle disguised as misfortune. It was dusk, the kind that painted the canyons in hues of fire and shadow, when his horse shied away from a bundle huddled against a mesquite tree. There, half buried in dust and desperation, was a boy, no more than 8 years old, his dark hair matted with sweat, his Apache features etched with the raw terror of abandonment. Elijah, a widower himself, whose calloused hands had buried dreams alongside his late wife, felt a tug in his chest that no lasso could wrangle. Without a word, he scooped the child up, wrapping him in his weathered coat, and rode back to his modest ranch, where the wind whispered secrets through the cottonwoods. Elijah's life had been one of quiet solitude since losing Mary to the fever 5 years prior. His ranch, a sprawling spread of cattle and corn, was his sanctuary, built on the sweat of his brow and the unyielding spirit of the frontier. He had no children of his own, no kin to call upon, just the loyal hands who worked the land and the memories that haunted his nights. That evening, as he fed the boy warm stew by the flickering lantern light, the child's eyes, wide and wary, met his own. "What's your name, son?" Elijah asked gently, his voice rough like gravel but softened by an innate kindness. The boy whispered, "Taza," a name that carried the weight of ancient winds. Elijah nodded, no questions asked about how or why. In that moment, he decided, this boy would not wander lost anymore. By morning, he had already begun the quiet process of adoption in his heart, vowing to teach Taza the ways of the ranch, to give him a home where roots could grow deep. The next day dawned with a crispness that belied the heat to come, and Elijah rose early to tend the herd. Taza, still silent but less afraid, trailed behind him like a shadow learning to stand tall. As they mended a fence near the property's edge, a figure emerged from the shimmering horizon, a woman on horseback, her silhouette graceful against the rising sun. She was Apache, her long black hair cascading like a raven's wing, her face a masterpiece of resilience and beauty, marked by the subtle lines of sorrow. She dismounted with the poise of someone who had faced storms and survived, her traditional deerskin dress adorned with beads that caught the light like stars fallen to earth. Elijah's breath caught. She was no stranger to hardship, yet she carried an aura of quiet strength that stirred something long dormant in his soul. "Who are you?" Elijah called out, his hand instinctively resting on his hip, though there was no threat in her approach. She stepped closer, her dark eyes locking onto Taza, who froze, a spark of recognition igniting in his gaze. "I am Nita," she said, her voice melodic yet firm, laced with the accent of her people. "And that boy is my son." The revelation hit Elijah like a sudden gust, unraveling the simple narrative he had woven overnight. Taza rushed to her side, burying his face in her skirt, and she knelt, embracing him with a tenderness that spoke volumes of their bond. Elijah's heart sank, not from loss, but from the complexity unfolding before him. He had assumed the boy orphaned, perhaps by raid or illness, but here was the truth. Nita, a widow whose husband had fallen in a skirmish with settlers, had lost Taza during a frantic escape from encroaching dangers. She had searched tirelessly through the night, guided by instinct and prayer. Elijah invited them into his home, offering water and shade, his mind racing with questions he dared not voice yet. As they sat at his rough-hewn table, Nita shared her story in halting English, her words painting a picture of displacement and survival. Her tribe, scattered by the relentless push of white expansion, had been forced from their ancestral lands. She and Taza had been traveling to relatives when bandits, opportunistic thieves preying on the vulnerable, ambushed them. In the chaos, Taza had fled into the wilderness, and Nita had pursued him relentlessly, her horse nearly spent. Elijah listened, his own prejudices, forged by tales of conflict between settlers and natives, melting away like morning dew. He saw not an enemy, but a mother, fierce and unbroken, whose love mirrored the selflessness he had once known with Mary. An unexpected turn came as the afternoon wore on. Nita, noticing the ranch's modest but thriving state, revealed she possessed skills in healing herbs and weaving, passed down through generations. But more profoundly, she confessed her fear. Returning to her scattered kin meant uncertainty, perhaps even danger from those who viewed Apaches as threats. Elijah, grappling with his own loneliness, felt a profound realization dawn upon him. This was no mere coincidence, it was a crossroads of fates, an opportunity to bridge divides that had scarred the land. "Stay," he said impulsively, his voice steady despite the tremor in his chest. Both of you. The ranch is big enough, and Taza needs a safe place to grow. Nita's eyes widened, surprise mingling with suspicion. Why would you offer this? We are not your people. Elijah paused, his gaze drifting to a faded photograph of Mary on the mantel. Because kindness doesn't ask for kin. And maybe, in helping you, I heal a part of myself. The days that followed blurred into a tapestry of tentative trust. Taza flourished under Elijah's guidance, learning to rope calves and tend gardens, his laughter echoing across the fields like a bomb. Nita, initially wary, contributed her knowledge, teaching Elijah remedies for ailments that plagued his livestock, and in turn, learning the rhythms of ranch life. But tension simmered beneath the surface. Whispers from neighboring settlers reached Elijah's ears, warnings about harboring Indians amid the ongoing tensions of the Indian Wars. One evening, as storm clouds gathered, a group of rough men rode up, demanding to know why an Apache woman and child were on his land. Their family now, Elijah declared, standing firm, his rifle at his side but his words his true weapon. The confrontation escalated, words turning to threats, until Nita stepped forward, her presence commanding respect. She spoke of peace, of shared humanity, her eloquence disarming the intruders. In that moment, Elijah realized the depth of her wisdom, and the men, shamed by their own aggression, rode away. Yet the true emotional climax unfolded not in conflict, but in quiet vulnerability. One night, as thunder rumbled outside, Taza fell ill with a fever that mirrored the one that had claimed Mary. Elijah paced, helpless, his past grief resurfacing like a ghost. Nita, drawing on her ancestral herbs, brewed a potion intended to her son through the long hours. As dawn broke and Taza's fever subsided, Elijah collapsed beside them, tears streaming down his weathered face. I couldn't save her, he whispered, confessing his buried pain for the first time. Nita placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch gentle yet profound. You saved us, she replied. And in doing so, you show that compassion can rewrite even the saddest stories. Their eyes met, a spark of understanding igniting, a realization that love, in its many forms, could transcend barriers of culture and loss. Elijah's act of generosity, born from selflessness, transformed not just their lives, but his own, weaving 3 broken souls into a tapestry of hope. As seasons turned, the ranch became a symbol of unity in a divided land. Elijah formally adopted Taza, with Nita's blessing, and in time, a quiet romance blossomed between him and Nita, rooted in mutual respect and shared dreams. Neighbors, initially skeptical, witnessed the harmony and began to question their own biases, small acts of kindness rippling outward like pebbles in a pond. Taza grew into a young man who bridged worlds, teaching others the power of empathy. Elijah, once a solitary figure, found joy in the family he had chosen, proving that humanity's greatest strength lies in opening our hearts to the unexpected. In the end, their story whispered across the territory, a reminder that in a world fraught with division, one act of kindness can spark a chain of transformation. It leaves us inspired, hopeful that selflessness endures, binding us all in the unbreakable thread of our shared humanity. And so, under the vast Arizona sky, where red earth meets endless blue, miracles continue to unfold for those brave enough to embrace them.